Hi, my name is Sha'Myra Williams, and I am a teacher at Central Middle School located in Ascension Parish. I'm currently a 6th grade English Language Arts teacher using the Springboard curriculum. Prior to this lesson, the students were engaged in an embedded assessment, which is a writing activity designed to prepare students for the district benchmark exam. So upon doing that, we looked at some of the writings together as a PLC, and we recognized that the students weren't quite progressing towards mastery at the rate that we were expecting. So because of that, we decided to create some intervention stations as well as some enrichment stations for students who were prepared to move on with the lesson. At this point, we realized that we should probably base the groups based on their ability to master the criteria for mastery, as well as make it a little bit heterogeneous so that students could realize that they could play off of each other's strengths. So upon doing that, we looked at the students in the IGP process and tracked several different assignments to determine where they would fall in those groups. So the goal for this lesson was for all of my students to be able to obtain mastery of the standard. And in this case, the mastery standard was for students to be able to convey ideas and concepts through their analysis. And so after we finished the embedded assessment, my PLC and I, after looking at student work, realized that we needed one last effort at being able to give students an opportunity for intervention and enrichment, considering that the benchmark was quickly approaching. So I think it's important to note that this setting is an inclusion setting in which my co-teacher and I decided that we would employ a station model. And so through these stations, the students were engaged in several different activities, so one being hands-on, one being technological, one where they were able to listen. So it was truly differentiated for the students and their needs. Figuring out the structure, like how do I even set up this essay? Okay, so all of your needs will be met today, okay? So we're gonna take some time to go through everything. So I need everyone to look up here on Google Classroom. You can also look on your screens if you have it pulled up. Okay. So I'm actually gonna put you in groups in just a second, but before we go in groups, I need to make sure we establish some group norms, okay? What are group norms?
Things you have to do in your group.
Group norms. We need to establish that before we do anything else. Because if we all are not on the same page about what we should be doing in groups, then they're not going to be successful groups. So Cameron, what's one thing that you definitely want to make sure your guideline is in a group?
Working together.
Work together. I need to hear some others from other people. Just tell me.
Staying on top of it.
Staying on top.
Be respectful. Listen to the person that's talking.
Understand what you're going to do.
Listen to the person that's talking.
Don't argue.
Make sure that you're not.
Everybody participates.
Correct. Don't make silence. Yeah, don't like be. Don't scream. Voice level 2.
Voice level what?
2.
Don't get frustrated.
2 or 1.
Ask your group for help if you don't understand something.
Don't get frustrated over simple things.
Be cooperative. Do your hardest.
How do y'all feel about those?
Yes.
All right, this is everything that you all said. I'm just kind of like pulling in what you said. So, with an educated guess, okay. So, Alex was in a hurry to get home to watch football. He was driving over the speed limit when suddenly he heard a siren and saw flashing lights. No, please, not now, he thought. What do you think is happening? And how do you know?
Deliberate.
The police is behind him because you hear sirens and they got they got blue and white and red lights behind them.
He was getting in trouble for speeding.
He was hurrying because he was hurrying.
He was in trouble for speeding.
The red lights were behind him.
Okay. A police was behind him because you heard sirens and he saw flashing lights behind him.
And how do you know that?
Because he saw sirens.
Because he was speeding.
Because he was speeding?
Well,
okay.
It says he was hurrying to see the football game.
All right, so if you were writing an essay or writing a paragraph, right, RACE style,
Matthew.
which part of
Matthew.
race would that be?
That would be explanation.
Explanation, because what is our keyword? How do we know that we have to explain?
How do you
How
The
do you
how
know?
do you know part, okay? So anytime you are explaining anything, and this is for all of the groups, anytime you're explaining, always think, how do I know? Oh, okay, I need to go a little bit deeper and explain myself, all right? So just define your thoughts a little bit more. So let's see. He is getting pulled over, flashing lights. Good job.
Good job.
Come
Anyone think anything differently?
Wait a minute.
They can be going where?
To the pool.
To the pool?
Yeah, they're going to the pool because they needed an umbrella for the beach, so the mom can not get a sunburn or anything.
Is that your evidence? What do you think? Going to the beach? Why?
Because no one needs sunblock.
Don't need sunblock. But can you get sunblock at a pool?
No, wait.
When you need sunblock at the pool?
Yeah.
Why not?
Because,
Is the sun out at the pool?
yes. But it's very out.
So is there another piece of evidence that you could use
Let's see.
for the beach?
What would you think about what would you need for the beach that you may not need for the pool?
Sunblock. Probably need a sunblock for the pool.
There's something in there.
It would be folding towel would already be at a towel.
A towel. You need a towel at the pool and the beach, right? So is there any other materials that they have?
Folding chairs.
Folding chairs, right? And a minivan. That's a lot of stuff, right?
Yeah,
So are y'all sure?
to be,
Beach or pool?
beach.
Beach? Okay.
Okay, so.
First year
Chart paper and markers. Okay.
How the fruit actually develops the theme.
Okay, so author developed theme always has to go back to the method that the author used to show these things. Are you pointing at the photo? Alright, so if we're looking at our signpost, alright, which category is going to help us to figure out the answer? The method or the tool?
Maybe tough question.
Tough questions. Alright, so there was a tough question in there somewhere?
I don't know, but
Alright, so figure out which signpost it was, and then from there,
contrast.
you saw a contrast contradiction. Show me where.
Where it says, when Phoebe says people usually try to make their best comfortable.
Okay, so if that is the contrast contradiction up here, which of these literary terms shows us the lesson that's coming out of that? Character development, internal conflict, or relationships? Relationship with the plot? Alright, so which part of the plot is this?
Where is the contrast
Make sure you hashtag that in your annotation.
Compassion is shown through making sacrifices.
Compassion shows making sacrifice. So we have a relationship to what's going on in the plot, right? So what would our answer be in this? Contrast contradiction, and we can see our lesson or our theme through the relationship. All right. So we can't say, oh, it was through the contrast contradiction. All right. But we can say, because we want to use the academic vocabulary, our relationship is what's going on in the plot and the setting. And then for your explanation, you're going to use the signpost to go deeper.
So we're going to use the contrast contradiction to explain. So you could just say, in the book, walk 2 men.
Miss Williams, they're working together very well.
Awesome, awesome. Everybody give hand claps to that group. All right, that's enough, that's enough.
The author develops the theme. Compassion is shown through making these sacrifices through
Yeah, that's cool.
about to make
Using or through relationships. Bam.
there's a topic sentence.
Let's get that down.
You have to have like a title, or do you just want us to begin writing?
You need, no, go ahead and write it.
They're in her bed because Sal knew. Where's new? Wait, that doesn't make sense.
Theo has new.
No, right here. There you go.
Level 1.
Like if they're saying number, then it must be, yeah, if they're saying number, then that must be important. Why would they say?
So then what's the literary element?
I'm going up there.
Plot, setting, symbolization, theme, characterization, character development.
Wait, hold on. While y'all write that, I'm typing.
It could be character development.
That does make sense. It'll help develop
So
Phoebe's character.
because she learned.
Phoebe.
So I think
Phoebe's character.
Yeah, Phoebe's character. Phoebe's
Somebody gets mad.
Okay, so when we say, is this good? Y'all know that's like a pet peeve of mine, right?
Yeah.
So let's ask a question that I can truly answer, because I can tell you, oh, yeah, it's good. Sure, but what exactly do you want? What exactly do you want? In what way?
Like,
Which part are you unsure about?
I'm sure about saying should the walk to moons the author develops.
We could put in the passage.
Oh, let's answer his question first. What?
So like I was like this in walk to the passage walk to moons. The author, the theme is developed. I mean, the theme is. Should we like say the theme is developed by?
Yes. Okay, so y'all are off to a great start. I really love how you have the theme, and then you actually state what the theme is, but you're very correct. We're missing a very key component. So remember, if I ask you the question, what is your name, then what are you going to tell me? Your name. So now I need to know, what is your answer to this question? How is it developed? Following this lesson, the students were given an exit ticket where they had to make revisions to an assignment that they had completed prior to this lesson. And so through those revisions, I was actually able to see that about 73% of my students made some growth toward mastery, which is a win. And I was also able to see that they were making progress, because throughout the conversation, I could tell that there was a whole lot of cognitive engagement happening, and the students were really engaged with trying to master the content. Over the course of the last quarter, I have been heavily immersed in the IGP tracking process with my kids and looking at where they are as far as their criteria toward mastery. And looking back, I probably would have created a station where I could have done some mini check-ins with my students so that I could pull some of those students based off of where they were in the tracking process, because some of them may have needed some additional feedback or just some conversations around what their writing looks like, while the other students were engaged in individual activities. So that's something I probably would have done differently. Moving forward from the station activity, the students will then take their benchmark exam. And so for us, this serves as our formative for the LEAP 2025, and it is also the summative for our literary analysis unit. And so because those standards will actually somewhat repeat in the next quarter, the students will get an opportunity to see those standards yet again, and I will be able to use some of that data from our district benchmark exam to inform some of our decisions as far as our next steps with the student.